What's going on, hockey fans? A huge day in USPHL hockey, and USPHL Nation is abuzz, getting ready for the national championships in Utica, New York. The USPHL Elite Tournament will look similar to some past years with the pool play system, but there are some new faces in that pool play, ready to dominate, ready to battle, ready to go after cup chasing season. That's what it's all about. We play for the cup, we play for the titles, and I look to a man who has no title because it would be too long with all the jobs he gets done for this show. He is my right hand man. He is my consigliere. He's mown fair from another mayor. Lucas, Beard Papa. What's up, Beard Papa?
Oh, playoff beard is in full swing right now. We're gonna do a little trimming around the edges before we get to nationals, but I'm fully committed to the look right now. It is gonna be great. Probably gonna go over well on Wacky Friday as well at USPHL Nationals. So if you're at Utica, make sure you stay at the rink a little longer on Friday because we're gonna have some surprises for you.
Yeah, we all know I don't have the rights to March craziness, so we're going to call it Wacky Friday with a lot going on. And we got to introduce in someone else, Lucas. A man that is slowly becoming part of the Dan K Show, part of the family, part of the brand. We call it the Dan K Show universe. This guy is like if I'm Iron Man and Lucas is the little raccoon guy that runs around shooting guns, then this guy, Lucas, who would he be? Who would be the character in the Marvel universe? I'm thinking maybe like the Incredible Hulk, maybe Thor, maybe
Lex.
Lex. Really?
Oh, my last name is Leuthner.
That is actually
Yeah, wrong universe, but we'll
that's the
take
wrong
it.
universe. That's DC universe.
Yeah.
But we won't get nerdy. What we will get is hockey. We're gonna be hockey nerds now. We're gonna go right hand man, consigliere Lucas. We're gonna go left hand man, Mr. Elite. This guy, if you are watching Elite Hockey, you will hear his voice aplenty. If you do not hear him, you have made a wrong turn. Go back and try again. Mr. Elite, Bret Leuthner. Bret, what's going on, babe? Big day.
It's another day in paradise, boys. Let's have at it.
Let's have at it. And we are going to start today's festivities with Pool A. 8 teams punch their ticket to nationals, 2 from each of the 4 USPHL Elite divisions. Pool A, or in Canada as we call it, Pool A. Pool A right now, 4 teams. They start with the Florida #1 seed. It was a tight race to the finish, losing game 1, having to come back and win games 2 and 3. The Florida Eels. #2 in this Pool A division is the 2 seed from the Mid-Atlantic Division, a team led by Jim Raymond, a coach who we love, and a team whose logo is on the shirt of Mr. Elite Bret Leuthner, the broadcaster for those Jersey Hitmen, the second team in Pool A. Our third team, the #1 seed from the New England Division. This squad was ranked #1 overall in our Dan K Show Power Rankings 4 times over the season's length. The Northern Cyclones. And finally, the 4th squad in this Pool A, the 2 seed from the Southeast, the Charlotte Rush. They won the Carolina Cup in the Elite in the outdoor game. Now they're going to battle in Pool A. Bret, I think the best place to start is who's on your shirt. Let's talk about this Jersey Hitmen team a little bit. You got a chance to watch their battle through the playoffs in an incredible series with the Aviators.
Yeah, and that was such an amazing series. I'd said on the air, I wish it would go 7 games in that one. It it was not hotly, I shouldn't say that. It was a tightly contested back and forth affair all the way through. The Aviators having totally turned that team around, the elite team around, and they were a very good team and a very worthy opponent. The Hitmen just found a way to get through adversity in game 3 to get that win. Anytime you're battle tested like that against a quality opponent, you know you're going to put yourself in good position to get ready for a national tournament. And you know that and some other teams that we'll get into, I think bodes well for them in being able to push themselves forward. It's a Hitmen team that they don't score many goals. It's a very defensive team. They got excellent goaltending. They'll get back as a five-man unit to play defensively, and so they're going to be difficult to really score many goals on unless you have like a supernova kind of an offense. And so the Hitmen giving themselves a good chance, getting there after their heartbreak last season. Uh, Obviously, I'm looking forward to their games, but I'm sure their regular broadcast that we brought in, Dave Hashagen's probably looking forward to how those games go as well. But it's going to be a fun one watching the Hitmen go through and seeing how stingy they can be at the tournament level.
Yeah, and Tommy Styles, the leading scorer in the postseason for this team. His Styles getting points, 5 of them in the postseason. Frankie Smith, it feels, Lucas, like as the netminder Frankie Smith goes, so do Coach Raymond's Jersey Hitmen.
Well, anytime you have a defensive team or a team that, as Bret says, likes to be stingy, it does start with the netminder, right? And it kind of comes out from there. A team like the Hitmen, they need to control the puck in order to score. They need to be able to possess it to get it to their skill guys, right? And in order to possess the puck, you got to make saves, you got to control rebounds. So I think it does start with a netminder. It comes out to the defensemen. They have to be smart on the puck. They have to be smart around their own net. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Turnovers will kill you in the regular season. They will absolutely be the death of good teams at nationals.
Yeah, and you yell it at me all the time, Lucas, and it makes me nervous, but that's okay. I know what you believe in. You talk about netminding. If the Jersey Hitmen play through Mr. Frankie Smith, I don't think anybody plays with their netminder more than Coach Tim Plummer of the Northern Cyclones and his netminder, Maximilian Pierce. You want to talk about some great stats in the postseason? 2-0, 1.50 goals against, a 9.46 saves percentage to get his ticket for his first seeded Northern Cyclones. This team, Bret, we saw him go to the national championship game last year. Do you think this year they can get over the hump?
I mean, when you have that foundation back there, it absolutely helps out that when you have that solid goaltending, and of course, when you have solid goaltending, you also need to play good defense. You can't just throw a goalie out there and expect them to make 70 saves and win one for you 2-1. So the defense is there as well. You're going to look for some guys. Nick Stevens had a couple of goals in their first round playoff series. Corey Girard also had a couple goals in that first round playoff series where they took care of things rather comfortably. So now let's see how they can build it because they're really going to be itching. I remember that title game last year. They had all the belief in the world in their home ice that they were going to take things down, didn't do so. And so now let's see, with other guys coming in, with all these guys coming back, with the whole organization wanting to really put in the solid effort, they're going to be a difficult team to deal with in this national championship.
Yeah, what an organization year for the Cyclones. They might be the
Oh yeah.
organization of the year in junior hockey. NCDC Deneen Cup playoffs, number 1 seed overall in the North Division. Number 1 seed overall in the New England Division in the Premier. Number 1 seed overall in the Elite Division of the New England Division there. In the Elite, I mean, everywhere you go, this team's winning. And some people say you don't talk about Bruno. I talk about Josh Bruno. 29 goals, 39 assists on the year, 68 points total. He's a 6-foot-tall right winger who's going to make a difference for this side. Kai Slett, Makar Korchenko, Joshua Page, turning a page there at the blue line. Nothing's more synonymous with Northern Cyclones hockey than good defenseman play. Lucas, we go to the next team in this group. I want to look at the Charlotte Rush because I saved these two for last, the Rush and the Eels, because as much as Fort Myers and Charlotte, North Carolina might not be in each other's backyards, it feels like the biggest rivalry in USPHL hockey. It used to be Charlotte-Hampton. It used to be Richmond-Hampton. Now, it's Florida Eels and Charlotte Rush. Let's start with the Rush, Lucas.
It certainly is. If you were like me at the Florida Showcase on that Monday when those two teams finally played, that was raucous. That was Nationals in January. And now you're going to get Nationals during Nationals, right, with a little bit extra on the line. For the Charlotte Rush, I mean, this season has been one of some ups and downs in the Elite, but mostly ups for a team. I mean, they play in a tough division. We all know that. Coming through the divisional round of the playoffs, +3 goal differential, right? So close games, they're battle tested. I don't think this is the overwhelming Charlotte Rush that we've seen sometimes in years past, but I don't think you need to be overwhelming in order to win a national championship. I think you need to be deep. Charlotte Rush are. You need to have fast skating, good offense. The Charlotte Rush have all that. And they have defense. They've proven that they can stop the puck. They've proven they can be tenacious. They've proven they can make themselves a problem for other teams. And I think that, there's a little bit of that raucous energy that certainly comes to play.
Yeah, Santa Maria is Gabriel Santa Maria good. Jack Lamoth, Charles Norris, Spencer Barrow with a wheelbarrow full of goals. Connor Ribstein, Wesley Schweitzer. Schweitzer, no swiping. Well, this defenseman swiping the puck away from you every chance he gets. This Rush team, though, yeah, I agree with you, Lucas. I feel like you feel like there's that little block, that little mental block that keeps you from saying they're going to win it all. And maybe that's just what makes them win it, right? Maybe that's just that moment, that chip on their shoulder. A Rush team coming in as a bit of an underdog, coming in as a 2 seed, normally a 1 when they come to the elite playoffs here at the Nationals. It'll be interesting to see. Bret, the Florida Eels on the other side. You look at this team coming in, the rival of this Rush team. Last time we saw them in Tampa, there was some extracurriculars and a walk-off win for the Charlotte Rush Elite, where they scored the game-winning goal in Tampa and ran off the ice. Talk to me about the Eels. I'm sure they want redemption.
Yeah, they definitely do want redemption. It's a good organization, well coached. They've got some guys that can really fill the nets up, in Marchetta and DeRay and Klingerman. It's going to really come down to to me, whose third line between those two are going to be the more potent ones. Because I think top two, you're almost going to stalemate yourselves. Yeah, the Eels can score more, but both of those sides still have, good quality on the top two. What are the third lines going to do? Because as you know, at a national tournament, you can't just go two lines. You can't shorten it up and go two lines for 60 minutes because they're going to be gassed by the third game. So, and the Eels too, they know through their coaches as well, and all throughout that organization, how to get through these kind of pool plays. With that past experience as players and coaches. So for me, let me see what these third lines can do. And not just in this game, in all 3 games in pool play, because how the third lines go, I think with the Eels and the Rush and the Cyclones as well, the Hitmen, that might be the one little thing is what, their third line might be of the 14. I didn't even work for them, but of the 4 teams might have the weakest third line.
Yeah.
So whose thirds are going to step up? Because the top 2 lines are going to bring their games each and every, time out there. So to me, the Eels, I want to see what that third line can do, especially against Charlotte. I want to see if they can produce and keep that pressure on, which to me, if the Eels get that going, if they get their pressure going, if they get their, if they get that offense just wheeling around, they're going to be awfully tough to deal with.
Yeah, and you look at it, the schedule in Pool A, they will be the early portion of the festivities. They're in the first half of each day. 12 o'clock p.m., Bret Leuthner on your call. The Jersey Hitmen will play the Florida Eels to kick things off in the Elite. Then at 2:30, the Charlotte Rush will take on the Northern Cyclones. Day 2, 12 p.m., Bret Leuthner on the call. The Florida Eels taking on the Charlotte Rush. Bret, the rivalry will be there. I might join you as your color commentator on a couple of these games just to talk about these ones. This is going to be a matchup.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have some fun. You know the deal, too. Just tap on the shoulder. Hey, I'm here. Okay, good. Let's go. And enjoy ourselves.
You, Matt Prier, Tyler Davey are all going to be doing dozens of games at this event. So Lucas and I kind of become roving reporters for the folks at home, right? We bounce around. We try to make it fun for everybody. It'll be a blast. 2:30 p.m., Northern Cyclones, Jersey Hitmen. Finally, that final deciding day, the decisive Saturday of action. 12 p.m., Charlotte Rush will play the Jersey Hitmen. 2:30, Eels versus Cyclones. It feels like this is anybody's pool, anybody's ball game. When we get closer, you'll hear our broadcaster selections from each pool, who we think will win, and you will be tested in trying to beat us. Try to beat the experts, or at least what we call ourselves experts, and see who can outdo the squad from the Dan K Show. Next up, we go to Pool B, and this, in the World Cup in soccer, they have what they call the Pool of Death, each event. This, to me, Pool B, looks to be the Pool of Death this go-around. The Tampa Bay Juniors serving as the number 2 from the Elite, a team that has also gotten to the precipice of the league, that has been the penultimate finishing team in the Elite. They lost to the Richmond Generals 4 years ago, trying to raise this cup. Can they get back? The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, the number 2 team, the final Dan K Show power rankings, they are in this division as well. Also in Pool B, the Islanders Hockey Club. The Islanders Hockey Club coming from the New England as the number 2 seed, but a team that has given Northern all they could handle all season long. Finally, the number 1 team in the Dan K Show's final power rankings, the Carolina Junior Canes. The stat about being the number 1 team in the Elite entering the national tournament. The Dan K Show is 6 for 6 lifetime since the adoption of the power rankings in having the final number 1 team in the Elite win the national title. Will it be a perfect 7 for 7? I think these 3 teams in this pool might have something to say about it right away. Bret, let's start with the Tampa Bay Juniors. How about that? I just golfed against the Tampa Bay Juniors today and beat them handedly. Garrett Strode, head coach, and I took care of business, but this Tampa Bay Juniors side, they're a team that can be Jekyll and Hyde. They can be great. They can have their moments of downfall. Where do you think they fall?
In the middle. I think, you're talking about a team that, by and large, they don't score as much as some of the other big teams in this group even. You're going to have Ari Black come up and have a big tournament. Brendan Sickles on 36 points, Robert Sheets on 36 points as well. But those aren't much, when you're getting guys that are a point a game or below as your leading scorers, you have to heavily rely on defense and goaltending to get through the day. The thing about it is you got some teams in this group that can fill the nets up by bucketfuls. Yeah. And that's going to make a tough sledding there for Tampa Bay. They've got the capability to do it. They can play defense and goaltending, obviously. It's just what can that offense do to bring enough to the table to win the games?
Yeah, and you look at Dylan Bruce and Jonathan Jensen in net, Lucas. This is an important role these 2 netminders are going to play, taking on Wilkes-Barre, taking on Carolina, taking on IHC. These teams are all not just able to fill the nets, they also fill the space in front of net. There's a lot of physicality on the Volkswagen, the Carolina Junior Canes, IHC. These teams aren't going to be afraid to push you around a little bit. There's not going to be a lot of sight lines, not a lot of space to work for the guys in between the pipes.
By and large, in the Florida division, what you see a lot of really good passing, right? You see some open ice. There's a huge and heavy Euro influence that kind of hits down there, right? And you have a little more Euro of a feel with the Florida Eels, a little more Minnesota feel sometimes with the Tampa Bay Juniors, but that's what you get. When you go into pool play, what do you end up with? You end up with physical hockey because you end up with divisions that do play hard in front of net. The Islanders Hockey Club, very used to playing close, grindy games. The Carolina Junior Canes, just used to kind of having their way in front of the net. They score a lot of goals, right? So I think once you get into the mix with, and especially Wilkes-Barre, right? The Wilkes-Barre Wagon, they play this northern style of hockey. They get right in your face. So as a netminder, you have to be mentally tough, and you have to kind of understand that I'm gonna need to get in the mix here. I'm gonna need to maybe shove a couple of guys around, maybe reposition some guys. Get some help from the defense. Be a real field general. Nationals is a moment for these young netminders to step up and control the narrative, control the pace of play, and show these scouts what they're able to do in these tight situations.
You talk about young netminders needing to step up. Well, I don't think anybody in the elite, at least when we're talking postseason, stepped up more for his squad than Anthony Lacroix. Lacroix, 923 saves percentage in the regular season, went 14-3. You want to talk about his playoff series to get his team to nationals? 2-0 record in 120 minutes played. He allowed one goal, stopped 43 shots, had a .50 goals against, and a 977 saves percentage. Bret, when you allow less than one goal a game, you can't be beat.
More often than not, yes, that would be the case. Obviously, sometimes you allow that one goal, and then who knows what happens. But I mean, Islanders Hockey Club have done such a good job this year. Not just with the goaltending from Lacroix, as you had mentioned, but Gabriel Leduc had 58 points. Matthew Demanchuk had 50. Nick Therrien had 50 as well in terms of the point scoring. You got 4 goal scorers on this team. And when you're talking about playing 42 games or less, that's just on both ends of the spectrum. They're playing really, really well. It's a confident team going in, and every right to be confident going into this one. And again, with that depth in scoring, it's going to make it difficult for other teams to have to try to keep up. And I even think IHC's got a third line that can provide problems for opponents. And I had mentioned, with the other group, what are the third line's going to do? And I think that's going to be something for IHC to be able to lean on a bit. Is I think they're going to have a third line that's going to be able to, both produce some offense as well as keeping it locked down on defense.
Yeah, and you look at this IHC team, I think this is the sleeper pick in this group.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is a team that when you look at what they do, how about a guy like Joshua Heward? He was the 7th leading scorer in the postseason series. This is a guy that had 45 points in 3-game winners and only took 12 penalty minutes all season long. So this is a guy who's a huge part of your offense, a huge part of what you do if you're IHC, a defense first, stop the puck team. And he doesn't even have to score the puck for you to go get yourself to the national championship. I think this is a team. Last year, we underserved the New England division in the elite in terms of Lucas and I's picks. Both of us didn't have either of those squads, IHC or Northern from last season, making it to the elite semifinals. Both made it to the elite semifinals. I think these are better than you think.
And I also want to bring this one up too. This group has the 2 most disciplined teams in all of elite in this same group. Tampa Bay, 371 penalty minutes total on the season, and the Islanders blew them out of the water at 302. So when those 2 teams get together, there are not going to be many penalties going on in that game because both of those teams are disciplined, stay out of the box, and when you stay out of the box, you give yourself a better chance of winning games.
Well, and that's Garrett Strode hockey for you, right? He at the premier level too. It's described to you by other coaches as he plays an NHL game. His boys play an NHL style, right? They get out. It's open ice. It's moving the puck. It's crisp. It looks good. It looks fast. There's a lot of speed. And these guys grow throughout the year. Tampa, IHC, they are the underdogs in this group. That's why we're calling it the pool of death.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at the pool of death and we go to the Wilkes wagon. Lucas and I, 6 for 6 on the number 1 team winning the title. I will tell you, there was a rousing debate between Lucas and I about whether this should be Wilkes at number 1 or Carolina at number 1. Lucas, the Wilkes wagon, explain yourself because they're tired of you picking against them.
Yeah, the Wilkes wagon, not too happy with yours truly over here. Also, strangely enough, Carolina Junior Cane's not happy with this either. Can't make anybody happy. But I'll tell you what, we are going to win these teams back because we're going to have this debate again right now. Let's start with, I think, the Wilkes-Barre team, right? Let's start with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights. I think that they're an incredibly impressive squad from top to bottom. I think that they are probably tied with Carolina in terms for the deepest team in this elite tournament right now, right? They can roll all 4 lines. They've got net minding. They are a team that will jump all over you when they sense weakness. We've said that about a couple teams in the Premier. And I think that's an incredibly important trait for a team to have if you want to be successful at nationals. sometimes you do get into the X's and O's, right? Especially now, especially with some advanced scouting here. And so if you can exploit a weakness, if you can jump on a team and get 2 goals right away, especially in the second period where we know a lot of crazy stuff happens, that's what Wilkes-Barre does so well. But I mean, for me, Dan, the Carolina Junior Canes, they're a grinding stone. They just keep going and going and going, and they wear you down over time. They might not jump down your throat if they sense weakness, but that's because they're confident in their game plan. They're confident in a game plan where they're gonna try to get up 4-1. That's where they live, right? They stop you on the defensive end. They can score on the offensive side of things. I think the advantage for me goes to Carolina. That's why I had them at number one. That's why I fought for them.
I want you to understand.
Hold on, almost done. I promise. I know I'm long-winded, but I'm on my last point. I think, and the reason why I went with Carolina is because I think their division is a little bit tougher. And so I think the two teams that look equal in stats and numbers and ability, I think the edge goes to Carolina.
I would like to point out the fact that this was not supposed to be about anything but Wilkes-Barre. But Lucas shows so little respect to the Wilkes wagon that he had to turn a breakdown of the Wilkes season and roster into a diatribe about why Carolina's better.
Well, I think it is
Go
you
after
need
Lucas.
you
The
need
Wilkes wagon run through Lucas's home.
you need the context of the two teams because we've talked about these two teams, we've battled about them the last couple of power rankings. I don't want to say that they're the kind of the black and white here, the yin and yang of this elite, but you do need the context of both teams to talk about why the other one is so good. When you look at the Carolina Junior Canes and the season they've had, and then you look across and you see what Wilkes-Barre's done, Wilkes-Barre has cleaned up. They have won. They've put together these incredible streaks, which shows their mental toughness, their mental determination, their ability to be consistently good week in and week out, day in and day out. And then you look at the Carolina side, which has had to really throw themselves into what we've always called the Southeast. You throw them into a battle zone, right? So it is, I think, to understand the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, you need to understand the Carolina Junior Canes. And if you're not watching that game when those two go head to head, what else are you doing?
Yeah, and Brett, you look at this Carolina Junior Hurricanes team. Lucas has certainly screamed it and shouted it. I've said it before this season. They might be the best elite team in USPHL Elite history. This is a Carolina Junior Hurricanes team that if you were making odds and you were a bookmaker, it'd be tough not to have them at about a minus 150 to keep from being fleeced and losing all your money. How good is this Carolina team, Brett?
Oh no, they're a tremendous team. Don't get me wrong, but they don't score. And keep. I've also watched the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights play.
He said
proper pronunciation.
We're gonna fight about
there
this
are
all
two
week.
pronunciations. You can use either one.
Fight about it all week.
Yeah, well, it's let John Wilkes, Isaac Beret. Hey, if you really want to get into it, those are the two gentlemen that Wilkes-Barre was named after. So yeah, there's that little thing on the E afterwards. So it's Wilkes-Barre.
I did not know that. That is new information.
John Wilkes Booth?
Not Wilkes Booth.
No.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back to Wilkes-Barre.
Don't call it Wilkes-Barre though. That's no good.
No.
Wilkes-Barre.
But anyway, yeah, Wilkes-Barre. Anyway, look, Carolina's good. Braden Strong's the big goal, the big point getter on that team. He sets everybody else up, setting up Jacob Gifford for 28 goals on the season. Tristan Sinne got 20 goals on the season. Luke Moses got 21 goals on the season. So, Strong's the one that pulls the strings in terms of the offense. And I want to look at Wilkes-Barre, and I watched them play against the Aviators. I'm sitting there, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I mean, and I've seen them play against the Hitmen too. Wilkes-Barre has got this speed about them, this speed and this swagger about them that I haven't seen much out of many of the other teams. Obviously, everybody's playing with a full set of confidence going into this one, but there's a different level of swagger going on up there in northeastern Pennsylvania. So, do I think Carolina is clearly ahead of Wilkes-Barre? No. Do I think Wilkes-Barre is clearly ahead of Carolina? No. They're both excellent teams, and unless barring mishaps, these might be the two teams coming out of this group and giving a nightmare to the other side going into the semis.
It is going to be fun to watch. Tristan Sine, Mateo Viglino, Braden Strong, Daniel Garcia Ortiz, Luke Moses, Jacob Gifford, Nathan Rhodes, Zachary Rich, Colby Markham, Jack Perrin, Jackson Furlot, Mark Antoine Vincent, Pavel Matuinin, Tristan Falsetto, Cale Hale, Joshua Harwood, Jacob Sanders, Maxwell Sullivan, Chris Cuddy, Gregory Harder, Liam McCusker, Banks Morgan, Sam Munker, Carter Radasta, Andrew Robbins. Lucas, I named them all because we got yelled at for only naming 14 of them last go around by the Carolina fans. They are the saltiest of salty.
That
we
is
love
true.
that they're watching, and we're happy that they're watching. The only people that ever get mad at us for calling their team the best team in the history of the Elite Division, yet they were still unfulfilled and unhappy with the hard work we put in. Gentlemen, let's look at the schedule for these sides in the pool of death. We start this will be the late portion of the event. And all of these teams will play all of their games in the 5 and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time windows. 5 p.m., Tampa Bay Juniors will take on the Carolina Junior Canes. 7:30 p.m. on day one, Islanders Hockey Club will face the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights. At 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights will play the Tampa Bay Juniors. At 7:30, rounding out the day, Carolina will take on the IHC. The final day, 5 p.m., this could be for all the marbles. It could already be sealed up. One team could be in, one team could be out. We will see, or they could both be gone, and we could be super surprised. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights will take on the Carolina Junior Canes, and the Tampa Bay Juniors will round out the Elite Pool Play round against the Islanders Hockey Club at 7:30. Bret Leuthner will be on the call throughout the Elite Tournament. He is Mr. Elite, and his broadcasts are the same. You can tune in all tournament long on Hockey TV with all of us, and if you're in the rink, you'll have speakers where you can hear the broadcast from your seats in select locations, so you don't have to turn on your phone and watch along and worry about knowing what's happening with a little
And there's a
bit of
delay. You don't want
Forget
that.
the delay. It's happening in the rink because Lucas is an absolute beautician. Gentlemen, let's go to our final thoughts here to close out the show. Bret, we'll start with you.
Pool A is, I think Pool A is the more even one. It's going to be fun to watch those guys play. To me, any of the four can pot the top two spots and go on. Pool B, it's gonna take a little bit more, I think, because of Carolina and Wilkes-Barre. Not to say Tampa Bay is not capable of it; they most certainly are. Not to say Islanders Hockey Club aren't capable of it; they most certainly are. It's why you called it the Pool of Death. There's going to be a deserving team not getting through. At the end of the day, there's going to be four deserving teams not getting through because I think all the teams in this national tournament are quality. They deserve to be national champions, but we only can crown one. So I think it's going to be a fun tournament. I think you're going to see a lot of good, exciting hockey. All the teams can play physical if you need them to. All the teams can open it up if you need them to. Some more than others, though. And I think those that can play it all together for 5 days, that's going to be your national champion.
It is going to be fun to watch you look at that Pool of Death. Do not forget that the Northern Cyclones were the quote-unquote little tiny underdog last year in the Pool of Death, in a pool that they had no business even winning a game in, according to Lucas and Dan K. What did they do? They went to the national championship game on home ice. Lucas, your parting words.
I mean, I look at Pool A, and I'm excited for a lot of those matchups. I'm excited to see the Jersey Hitmen back here. They are fired up. You go to that Instagram page, you watch the way that team rallies around Coach Raymond and just rallies around the boys, and you love to see it. And you've got some staples, the Florida Eels, Northern Cyclone, Charlotte Rush as well. Pool B, I mean, the thing is that with Wilkes-Barre and Carolina, one of those teams is guaranteed to have a loss somewhere along the line, right? Because they got to play each other. I think that's a perfect moment for the Islanders Hockey Club or the Tampa Bay Juniors to just come through there, right? I looking at the field this year, I really wish, and I know it would add a day, I really wish that both pools could get sorted into a bracket. I know it adds a day. I know it adds a lot of cost. I know it adds a bunch of stuff. But you look at how strong the field is, and it's at the elite and the premier level this year. The field is so even. The field did not get worse and got even. The field got stronger and got more even, right? In the premier, you're seeing a little bit of a shakeup. In the elite, you're seeing a little bit of shakeup as well. The defending national champions at both levels, not back. That is a good thing. More hockey this year in the USPHL than ever. Stronger national tournaments than ever. You know, maybe something to be said there. I think for both of these tournaments, if you have a player that's involved, I mean, congratulations. If you're a scout, you need to be locked in. 6 days, got to be locked in.
26 teams go to nationals, 18 in the Premier, 8 in the Elite. For the first time in league history, not one has a record under the 500 mark. Every year there's that one team that sneaks in. Everybody deserving. Everyone's supposed to be here. The best of the best are in the building. And how do you become the man? If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Get out there, put it on the ice. And there's our woo. That's our closing woo for the show. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. Thank you to Body Trick. You can see it right there on Brett's hat. They will be the sponsor of the Penalty Kill all tournament long. Body-trick.com. Little spray, little penalty kill spray. Just a little spray. It'll take the stink out of your hockey game, and hopefully it'll help your penalty kill all tournament long. Remastered Sleep. Stop snoring with just a sip with Remastered Sleep. Go to remasteredsleep.com today. 10% off at checkout with Dan K Show. Coupon code. I almost messed it up. Next up, Selly Salt. Sprinkle it on your next meal. Just hockey moms making your hockey dinner taste delicious. Finally, GMU Sport. 50% off at checkout with GMU Sport. Go to gmusport.com. It's USPHL 050 is that coupon code at checkout. Or go to the website right now. Click the big banner at the top that says the discount. It'll take you right to it. Order your protein powders, your pre-workouts, all the things you need, your vitamins, your supplements. Get a big discount on it. gmusport.com. We're presented by the Pueblo Bulls. Run with the Bulls, baby. Jerry Wilhite and the crew there in Pueblo, Colorado. We might have got the key to the city, but we're not the mayor yet. You have to keep supporting the Pueblo Bulls. Get out there and play hockey in Colorado, and eventually get us to be the mayors of Pueblo, Colorado. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. Thanks for watching, guys. Elite National Championships start March 23rd.